of this gift. He says, that gift I like more than everybody. But what did you like about it? He said, I took it, I got a bird, I cooked it perfectly, chicken soup, just like I like, with no what's it called? Verstehst? Oh, come, sit this way. Only Schneider doesn't like to sit with us.
Schneider, what's happened?
This way I'm not on the camera.
He's scared of the camera. All the girls can look at
The
him.
camera shot.
Make yourself at home.
See, all the seats are taken.
Make
There's a
yourself
seat
at home.
over there.
I'm going to speak very quietly. If you want to hear, you have to come this way today. Unless you don't want to, you don't have to.
I can't take Jerry's seat over there.
Jerry's not coming. What is it? He doesn't drive at night now. Okay, at 7:30, let's start.
Okay, just a second. I will sit there and you guys go in here.
You think he doesn't want to sit on the one row with you? That was the problem?
This is the man will not come and sit.
Yeah, ladies sit together.
Ladies sit together. That's the way to do it. Modesty.
All right.
Here, Abraham, bechavod.
You don't have to.
Okay.
No, it's good, it's good.
That's what I want.
Blame it on the rabbi. Fine.
Never.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to today's class. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehaka v'niyeh b'dvarim.
Amen.
Not too much on it. I thought of putting on it, but I didn't. A cup of tea. So we are in the middle of a discussion of the Makos, the plagues. We are the third Parsha of Shmois, Parsha's Boy, which starts on page 340. And in this Parsha, we are continuing the set of plagues that Paro is receiving for his refusal to let the people go. So last week he got 7 of the plagues, and this week we're going to learn the final 3, followed by the exodus from Egypt. Tonight we are all going to go out of Mitzrayim, we are going to go out of Egypt, and we are also going to celebrate the first ever Seder, the Passover meal in Mitzrayim, which was a prescribed menu by God Almighty Himself, and the menu was of matzah and moror, bitter herbs, and also meat, roasted meat, necessarily roasted, not any other way, not cooked, not baked, not fried, only roasted. And we're going to go out of Egypt. And this exodus from Egypt is going to be presented to us with a number of very interesting commandments, all centered around this very same topic, and this is to remember how it was in Egypt, to remember how we left Egypt, and this is going to involve the mitzvah of celebrating Pesach every year, the mitzvah of eating matzah every year, the mitzvah of eating moror every year, the mitzvah of eating a paschal sacrifice every year, the mitzvah to put on tefillin on your hand, tefillin on your arm, tefillin on your head, the mitzvah of redeeming the first born donkey, or a special process of how to deal with the firstborn donkey. And this is basically the central parsha which deals with the story of the Exodus. Matter of fact, according to Rashi, in the beginning of the Chumash, which is the first Rashi in Chumash and Parshas Bereshis, Rashi says that truly the Torah should have begun with this week's Parsha. because till now was stories. Till now was a background. And seemingly that Rashi assumes that Torah is all about mitzvos, commandments. So therefore, being that the Torah is about mitzvos, this week's Parsha shares the first ever commandment, the first mitzvah which was given to the people of a nation. Which mitzvah is it? The mitzvah to establish new month, Rosh Chodesh, with the month of the Exodus being considered the first of the months. And Hashem actually showed Moshe how a new month is established. To have a new month on the Jewish calendar, on the Jewish for the Jews, is a very critical, important matter, because everything centers around the time established by the new month. If you want to know when to celebrate Pesach, you have to know when is the beginning of that month, because on the 15th of that month is when Pesach is. If you want to know when to fast Yom Kippur, you have to know when is the beginning of the 7th month, because the 10th day of the 7th month is Yom Kippur. So it's all about the calendar. And the calendar was the first mitzvah which we were given in Mitzrayim before, 2 weeks before we left Mitzrayim. Hashem spoke to Moshe about the calendar and the mitzvah of sanctifying month on the first day of the month. And he told them that 2 weeks from now, you're going to have a Passover celebration. So 2 weeks in advance, we were given the first mitzvah, and Rashi says in the beginning of the Bereshit that really this should have been the first part of the Torah. Torah should have begun just with that. And Rashi explains that there's a reason, that it's important to know who created the world. Also mainly to tell us who is the boss when it comes to the land of Israel. Right? Whatever happened this week in Washington, D.C. is very much related to the reason why the Torah begins with Bereshit. The Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Jewish people. Now, but all this was introduced with Egypt going through a process called Makos. The Makos in this week's Parsha take an interesting twist. And the twist is that, first of all, it's the first time after 7 plagues that something gets moved, so to speak, by Paro and his people, specifically the people in the palace. Number 2, the government officials. Number 2, also Moshe and Aaron are not as nice to Paro anymore. They kind of are losing patience with them. So let's start with the first plague, which is the plague of Arbe, locust, and we're going to see something very interesting the way the Torah describes this Parsha, this plague. Chapter 10, verse 1, page 340. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Hashem says to Moshe, Boy el Paro, come to Paro. Come to Paro. Very interesting. The famous Zohar, this Parsha, asked the question, what does it mean, come to Paro? Go to Paro. Come to Paro. Go to Paro. Right? Paro is in his palace, and I want you to go to him. Why is it coming to Paro? So there's a Hasidic interpretation which says Hashem tells somebody, okay, let's go. When you say, boy, it's like, let's go. When you say, let's go, what does it mean? Go together. Come on, let's go to Paro. I'm going with you. You're going to speak, but let's go. We are both on the same mission. Boy el Paro. And it says, because here again, I made his heart and the heart of his servants stubborn, leman shisi bekirbo, so I can put the signs of mine in his midst. Hashem has a plan. I have all kinds of signs that I did not show yet, and I want Paro to know about it. And here comes a very, very critical verse, a fundamental verse, verse 2. And this becomes the story of our people and the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Uleman tesaper, so that you may relate be'oznei bincho, in the ears of your son, uven bincho. I'm doing all that because I don't just want to do it to Paroi. And I'm not only doing it because I want to punish Paroi. And I'm not only doing it because I'm looking to get you out of Egypt. I'm doing it because I have in mind that the day is going to come, the grandson. And I told you maybe some time ago that I once read, what keeps a family together? Everybody's looking to keep their family together, right? I hear sewing, sobbing, smiling, relax. What keeps a family together?
Tradition.
What does it mean, tradition? A family is being kept together if the family feels a part of a big story. This is not just me, it's not just my father. There's a story which began mit a Zayda, mit a Baba, mit a Elta Zayda, mit an uncle, mit a this, mit a that. And as more there is a story to tell, stronger will the kids feel and less be vulnerable, knowing that they belong to a big story. They don't have to go find themselves on drugs, God forbid, or anything else. They feel strong knowing that they're a part of a story. It's a story that we heard and are being told, and keep on telling the story. How many times you hear the story over and over, and then all the kids are already rolling their eyes. Right? Again, we already heard the story about the Zayd and Baba, and they even tell you that I think the story is growing hair because they didn't have that detail or that detail. Doesn't matter. Leman tesaper. Keep on telling the story over and over, and as the Baal Shem Tov said, tesaper comes from the word sapir. Sapir is a luminary stone, like a diamond called sapphire.
Sapphire.
Sapphire. So leman tesaper, he says, when you tell a story, a meise macht lichtig. A story illuminates the life, illuminates the room, illuminates the legacy and the direction of your generation and the future generations. By Hasidim, stories were a big part of the Hasidic experience. We used to sit together, even for a few minutes after davening, tell a story about a tzaddik, a story. Shabbos was always around stories. They put an emphasis on stories. Sipurei Hasidim tells stories. So here says the Torah, I want you to tell the story, and here you see the way Judaism works. It doesn't just tell the story for you, for this generation. Hashem is already thinking, you're anical, the future generations. You see later in the Parsha, when it comes to the actual story of the Exodus, to tell over the story becomes the big part, the big mitzvah of the story of the Exodus. Tell it to your children, tell it to them, speak to them, and this child and that child and every child individually should get his own response, depends what kind of child he is, etc. But here comes a very interesting word which I would like to discuss for a moment. Let's read again. Uleman tesaper be'oznei bincho, so that you should tell the story in the ears of your son, uben bincho, and your son's son, eis asher italalti b'Mitzrayim, that which I made a what? Italalti, mockery of Egypt.
איזה פסוק?
Pasuk bet, Amud 340. Mockery of Egypt. Rashi says, italalti, sachakti. I laughed. I made fun of Egypt. And the signs that I placed upon them, ve'yedatem ki ani Hashem. So you, meaning you, You, your children, your grandchildren are going to know that I am God. What is this mockery of Egypt? What is the joke, so to speak? That's what Rashi, that's what the translation is, right? You know mockery means?
Belittling.
You know mockery means in English?
Belittling.
Belittle, make fun of.
Huh?
Belittling.
Making fun of. Making fun. Hashem did not just punish Mitzrayim. The Torah tells us that Hashem made fun of Mitzrayim. I mean, the whole idea to want to go, to let the people go and then somehow figuring out that you're not going to let them go is also funny. But we can see in the way the Midrash discusses the Makkos, you can see a few ways how this whole concept of italalti, of making fun, I mean, we'll see soon why the fun is important. So if you go back to the story of the Makkos, so how does it start? Meaning, the recent market that we had just before this one was hail, borrowed. So how does the hail work? So an Egyptian comes out. This is already almost a year into the process. Bread shloila, there's no fish. How do you say fish? Riva. No riva. No fish. Riva. Riva. No fish. What happened to all the fish? So, makat dam, when it came the plague of dam, all the fish were gone. You want to eat meat? After the epidemic of Dever, all animals died. There's no more meat. So no fish, no meat. No. So what do you do when there's no fish or meat? You're becoming a Seattleite. What is that? Let's become vegan. Let's become vegetarian. Let's become vegetarian. Okay? No need for meat, no need for flesh. We're going to go to teapot and it's all going to be good. Come suddenly, the Makkah, the last week was Barad, hail. What did the hail do? Smashed all the trees. And when the trees are smashed, there's no more fruit, there's no more vegetables, and you can't even be vegan. Everything is gone. Oh, but something special happened. What was the miracle? So last week, in the end of last week's Parsha, if you want to take a look back, it says on verse 31, Ve'apishto ve'achito ve'akusemes lo inuku ki afilo iseino. That the wheat and the spelt were not struck. Oh, Baruch Hashem. And as Rashi says, that there was a special miracle. And the special miracle was that they were able to eat bread. Right?
You're still vegan.
There is wheat.
You're still
No wheat, no meat, no fish, no fruit, no vegetable, but chleb, Baruch Hashem, you can make yourself something, you can take the flour, and now have, this is the most important ingredient in the good old days before they were processed, okay? So bread was very important, and everybody ate bread, and it, lo ala lechem levado yichya adam, amoitze lechem in oretz, is a special bracha on bread. This is the beginning of the meal, because it's the most important ingredient of a meal. Every Shabbat, every Yom Tov, you have to eat bread. And you know, I remember my Zayda, I knew him for almost 40 years, almost 50 years. And he was every day eating the same diet. I never saw him eating anything different than a piece of hard bread from the day before, dipped in his coffee. And that's what he ate every morning. He used to come back from shul after davening. He has the coffee, hard bread, no egg, no scrambled egg, no this, no that. That was his food, and that's what he ate always. I never saw him eating anything different than that for breakfast. He always had breakfast, and he always had bread and coffee. Always. Rambam did it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in Spain or in Morocco, but
The Rambam said to eat a fat lechem every morning.
Right? Pachacharit. The Gemara says that this is a very. I just had a discussion this morning. Yeah. This morning I spoke to it about it. Somebody introduced a diet that you fast 15 hours. You fast certain hours from the night. You fast 15 hours. Then you get a little. You eat basically late. I said, could be it's a good diet. The Gemara says Pat Shacharit is a very curing meal. I mean, usually I do it at 12 o'clock anyway, but I still call it Pat Shacharit. Right? Right, till you're down. But either way, no. Now so it says there is flour, but then the Makkos, we all know the plagues. The Gemara brings two opinions. Usually it was 3 weeks of warning and 1 week of plague, right? That's the general concept. No, they go out and they start walking around Mitzrayim and they see Baruch Hashem, yesh ochel. There is food. There was a bad hail, and everything was destroyed. But at the same time, there is wheat. Right? The borod, the hail did not destroy the wheat. That's what the pasuk says. Comes this big Parsha, a new plague. What is the plague? Arbe, the locusts. The locusts couldn't find any food. What did they find? They found wheat. They found wheat. That was the only thing they found. And they went and attacked. And now the Jews, or the Egyptians now suddenly, are realizing that the reason that God left the locusts wasn't for them but to eat. The reason that the hail did not destroy the wheat wasn't because they should have what to eat. Instead, it was for the locusts to have what to eat. When the locust comes, you can't let the locust hungry. They have to come and be attracted to something. That was the reason that the wheat was left. So who has what to eat? The locust. And the Egyptians are left with what?
Nothing.
Are left with garnished.
It's locust.
Locust. Let's see to that. Before locusts, listen, something very.
No, eating locusts.
Hold on, this is what's going on here. No, I want you to look in the pasuk. This is the first time after it goes very, very interesting. Hashem tells Moshe, let's go to Paro. And verse 3, Moshe and Aaron come to Paro, which we're going to discuss in a moment. What does it mean, come to Paro? Like there's no guards and we'll come to it. They come to Paro, they speak to him, and they give him the warning about the locusts. And then comes verse 6, and they say you're going to see a locust that no one ever saw such a locust. And there was never in history such a locust. That we have to have all explanation. Our sages, we know that in the times of Joel, the prophet, there was a locust. And apparently that locust was even greater than the locust in Egypt. So the Mefarshim say that it was greater because it had all types of locusts. But in Egypt was one type of locust, and in such a quantity that never existed ever. What is locust? Arbe. Pacha? Parmencha. Arbe. So now they warn him. And what happens, says verse 6? Vayifen vayetzem im paroi. They just left him. They told him the warning and they left. At that point, something very strange happens on verse 7. Paro's servants are saying to him, Paro, come on. Ad mosa lonu lemoike. How long will this be a snare for us, a stumble for us? Enough. Shalach, send him. Abaita. Don't you see? Ki avdo Mitzrayim. Don't you see that Mitzrayim is lost? What happened suddenly? What happened after Arba that they fell? Till now, we don't find them coming to Paroi. Did you find in the previous 7 plagues that his witchcraft advisors told them, come on, let them go? No. What happened here by Arba? What was the moikes? What is it called in English? What was the snare? Snare.
Snare.
What is the snare? Meaning, what was the last stumble? They felt like, oh, now we are getting tricked. And once this is happening, this is going to be the end. What happened? So the Medrash says, every plague was painful and stressful and hurting at the time of the plague. Take, for example, the first plague, down. So for an entire week, they all suffered. There was no water. Yes, those witchcrafts were able to transfer water into blood too, but they couldn't take blood and make it into water. No, that they couldn't do. They couldn't do. So they had to buy a cup of water. It was crazily expensive. So not only didn't they have water, they had to sell their portfolios. They had to open up all their saving accounts just to get a cup of water. They were becoming poor. But it was for 1 week. Once the week ended, see, over. Came Tzfardeya. Yeah, the whole land was smelling Bativa Shoretz. Right, there's such a bad smell. What happened after a week? Fine. Quiet down. Lice, wild beasts. What happened to the locusts? That was they realized this is something very unusual. Why? On one hand, personally, we don't get any trouble from the locusts. We don't get hurt by the locusts. Right? The lice was affecting us. The boils affected us. But what happened with the locusts? Personally, the Egyptian wasn't affected. But then they said, oh, this is a moikes, this is a trick. What is the trick? We are dying. This is going to be the cause for our death. Because at this point, there's not even bread, there's not even flour, there is no food. That's it. You're going to die. They returned on verse 8. They come back to Paroi. And Paroi says, okay, Payachale, go. Go. Who is going to go? Negotiation starts. They say, everybody. Paroi says, no, only the adults. They say, no, we're all going to go. And I see that you are intending a conspiracy against me. You're not even coming back. And at that point, says verse 11, Vayegorish oisom. Paroi chased them away. Vayegorish. He screamed at them, get out! Get out! And the locusts arrived. No, when the Egyptians see the locusts coming, now they say, oh, let's try to get cure from the illness. You know, sometimes there are certain, when people take, you give children, what do you call it? That needle, what do you call it?
Oh,
Vaccinations. What do? You take actually the illness itself. So they said, okay, God wanted to get rid of us by taking away food. We have an idea. Let's use the plague as a source of food. Let's eat locusts. This is what I want to eat. And as Rashi said, they took the locusts and they started filling up barrels. There were so many locusts. Filling up barrels, 100 barrels, 500 barrels, 700 people had filled up. They made herring. Like herring in a jar. But a herring made out of locusts. Pickled, salted. And they say, ha, you thought you thought you got us. Here you go. We are like you Jews, using creative minds, and we decided not to transfer the very plague into a source of sustenance. What happens the next thing? Verse 18, 19 in the bottom of the page. Vayafech Hashem ruach yom chazak me'oi. Hashem brings a western wind, right? And Vayisa es arbe, and it takes out the arbe. The locust is now, the Torah said, Be'echod. Bechol Gvul Mitzrayim. Not a single locust remained within the entire border of Egypt. Says Rashi, what does it mean, not a single, what does it mean, not a single locust? What is the emphasis on a single locust? Says Rashi from the Medrash, not a single locust means to say that even the pickled locust, even the salted locust, also left Egypt. So now the Egyptian comes down to his storage room, he opens up the pot, and is looking for his treasure. Garnished, empty. What do you mean? I filled, I packed it up yesterday. Or maybe it's a mistake, it was the other barrel. It comes to the next barrel, opens it up, garnished. Goes to his neighbor, everybody says, garnished. What happened? We just collected locusts. We even salted them, we pickled them, we made a herring of locusts. Garnished. Le'nisha me'em ad echad, the Medrash says, right? Echad means there's not even a one. Not even a one. No. That's called mocking. Insalalti. This is not just a punishment. I'm letting you think that you got something, and what happens on the end? I'm making fun of you. You know, sometimes you trick someone, you think he got it, and then he opens his does and he finds nothing. And what do? You laugh. That's what the Rabbi did. Isalalti b'Mitzrayim. And that's what we tell our children when it wasn't just a punishment, it was mocking of them. Matter of fact, if you look in this old story of the Parsha, like I said before, till now, till this plague of locusts, Moshe and Aaron were kind of very respectful to Paro. He spoke to very respectfully. Paro asked Moshe to daven for him, and Moshe went out to daven for him. Obviously, the reason was, to sanctify Hashem's name, that I daven to Hashem and Hashem answers and He takes away the plague. But at the same time, it was also an expression of respect to Paro. Hashem told him to be respectful to Paro. So he was respectful. He asked me to pray. I daven, whatever I did. Suddenly here, when it comes to the plague of hail, as we saw, Moshe is already not as nice. And here you see again the laughter. What is the laughter? The laughter is, and you think about it, it's really, really strange. What happened here? Moshe, on the books, was a convicted fellow. He was a convicted fellow. He had to escape Egypt because he had killed an Egyptian. Right? And he ran away to Midian. So he was a wanted person. There was all over Egypt, big signs, 1,000,000 ruble for giving him the head. This is a person who killed one of us. He was a wanted person. He ran away. He ran away from Paro. This is the story. We all know the story. If we know the story, Paro knew the story. Egypt knew the story. And now what happens? He comes in to Paro's palace. He's there. Kill him. Put him in jail. Goodness. He doesn't do anything to him. He doesn't even mention to him once. Hey, you, calling the police. Grab him. This is the guy. This is the Moshe that we are running after. He's the wanted guy. He's in the palace. He comes in. Doesn't even say how he came in. What happens to the guards? What happens to the Medrash says that there were like bears and lions and tigers and all kinds of animals were watching the entry gates into the palace. Everybody is quiet. Everybody lets Moshe and Aaron through. We only see them coming to Paro. Right? Garnished. The first time that he says to him something bad is what we just read on verse 11 on top. Vayegoresh oisam. He chased them away. He said, "Get back! Like you scream on somebody. Abaita! Go! You scream to them, chase them away. Why are you chasing him away? Put him in jail! This is the mocking. This is the salalti that we keep on reading in the Parsha. You pay attention to the stories, you realize that it's not just plagues. It's not just God is punishing Egypt. God is actually mocking Paroi. Because every child looks on that and says, hey, what are you doing, Paroi? Moshe was in your hands and you don't do nothing. And you start laughing. You start wondering, is Paroi okay? Does he have any control? Or he has somebody who controls him? The Rebishter, Almighty God, plays with them. Here you're going to be quiet. Here you're going to scream. Here you're going to chase him out. I'm the boss. I am the boss. The only time is when it comes the next plague. Did I saw a geschmack or a chaim. It comes the next plague, the plagues of darkness. And Moshe comes on page 344, 345, and he tells them that, if you don't let him go, you're going to be plagued with darkness. What does verse 28 say? Paroi says to Moshe the first time, Lech mi alai. What does Lech mi alai mean? Go from me, go away, which he told them before also. But here he says, he warns Moshe. Shama lecha, he says, be careful. Al toisev ros ponai. Do not see my face anymore. Ki beyoim reoischa ponai. On the day you see my face, Thomas, you shall die. Finally, after 9 plagues, he doesn't even kill him, which he should have. He could have. No. He doesn't even warn him. Only by the 9th plague, suddenly Paro is getting courage. And he says, one more time you come over here, I kill you. And what happened? What was Moshe respond? What was Moshe respond on verse 29? But you're right. I'm not going to see you again. I'm not seeing you again. And later, when it comes to verse 8, and Moshe is talking to Paro and he tells him the old message about the 10th plague, so it says on top of page 348, the last words, Vayetze min Paroi bechori af, that Moshe left Paro's presence in a burning anger. Moshe is angry on Paroi. And Rashi says, why is Moshe angry on Paroi? So Rashi says that Moshe is telling Paroi, hello, chutzpah, you telling me, that's what Rashi says, chutzpah, you telling me, don't come and see me again? And the day you're coming over to my palace, I'm going to kill you? Am I coming to you on my own initiative? I am being sent by God. So you telling me to come and not to come and bring you God's message? And Moshe expressed anger towards Paro. The Gemara says, you know what the Gemara says? On these words? You know what the Gemara says that Moshe left angry? Anybody knows the Gemara? Moshe didn't just left angry. He did more than that. The Gemara says in Zvachim, look at the Gemara. The Gemara says in Zvachim, right here, the whole discussion about Paro a little. Moshe, I'm sorry, says the Gemara, Vayetze Moshe mi Paro bechori af, Zvachim page 102, says the Gemara, what does it mean that Moshe left with burning anger, yet Moshe did not say anything at all to Paro as a result of his anger? So what happened there? Omar Rish Lakish, says the Gemara, Rish Lakish says, Storoi v'yotzo. Actually, Moshe slapped Paro on his face and he left. He didn't say much. Imagine you have the king of Mitzrayim, superpower. He gave him a smack.
It's abuse.
Who's abused?
Moshe abuse.
Good.
Physical abuse.
Zu gesund. Bis darauf. And the Gemara discusses it. But the Gemara said, you can look it up. Zvachim. Give him a fras. Like a good old style smack. What are you doing? Moshe, you are the wanted person. And you see Paro with all his power, with all his soldiers, and being in his own in his own place, right? In his own palace, and garnished. What does it mean? Why doesn't he do nothing? Call the FBI, call the your security team. Nothing. Why? Because Hashem is laughing. Hashem says, "Isalalti beMitzrayim." I'm not just punishing Mitzrayim. I want Paro to feel as a jock. I want him to feel like a jock. Let him realize. Comes Makas Choyres. Makas Choyres comes finally the 10th plague. And Paro is running around everywhere. You turn to Yechumish to Makas Choyres. Vayokom Paro Lailo. I saw a beautiful Chaim just before. It says, if you turn to page 356, verse 30. 356 or 357 in the English. It says the plague of the firstborn began. Vayokom Paroi Lailo. Paroi woke up at midnight. Hu v'chol avodov v'chol Mitzrayim. Everybody's up. Everybody has a sleepless night. Paroi has a sleepless night. All his servants have a sleepless night. And all of Egypt has a sleepless night. V'tehi tze'oko g'doyle b'Mitzrayim. And there was a great outcry in Egypt. Everybody is screaming. Everybody is screaming. Why is everybody screaming? Says the Pasuk, Ki ein bais asher ein shomeis. Because there's no house, but there was no death. Every house had somebody who died in the house. Why? There was a plague for the firstborn. So if I didn't have any kids, or if my firstborn was in yeshiva, or in school, why am I crying? The Egyptian. Says Rashi, firstborn does not mean literally the firstborn. Whoever is the oldest in the house. Let's say you have 3 kids, one is 20, 18, 15. The 20-year-old is on a trip somewhere. Who is in this house now?
18.
The 18? Okay, he's the oldest. Prach. He's dead. The eldest of each house, the oldest member in each house. So, Vayikro leMoshe leHaron Laila. So now he's calling to Moshe and Aaron at night. And he says, go now. So the Medrash says, what does it mean Vayikro leMoshe leHaron Laila? First of all, Moshe and Aaron, were they not in Goshen? The Ramban already says, Ramban makes his figures it all out for us. He brings all kinds of proof that Moshe and Aaron actually stayed in a hotel in Mitzrayim that night. They didn't go anywhere. First of all, there was some small Jewish neighborhoods in actual Egypt. Not everybody lived in Goshen. And Nachmanides says also they stayed overnight because there was a previous promise that he says, "V'avadecho yordu Eli," that your servant should come down to me. And let's not get into the details now. Moshe and Aaron stayed in Mitzrayim. But Paro doesn't know where. He doesn't know where. They didn't leave an address. So he's running around with his pajamas from neighborhood to neighborhood. And the Jewish kids are actually mocking him. They tell him, here, go there. He comes there. Hello, Mishpachat Moshe? No. Abramov. No, I'm looking for Moshe. Godir. Farkash. God. I'm looking for Moshe. And it's just like in the Gemara said that the kids were mocking Paroi. You did to us? No, run around all night, running around to find Moshe. But the Sod of Rachaim HaKodesh says something very special. The Rachaim says, if you look in verse 30 and verse 31. So verse 30 starts, Vayakam Paro, that Paroi woke up when? Laila. Laila means what? Night. Comes verse 31, how does that start? Vayikra leMoshe v'leHaaron Laila. And he called to Moshe and Aaron at night. The Rachaim asks, what is this double repetition of night? Verse 30 already said that Paroi woke up at night. So we know that we are now in the middle of the night. And he's calling for Moshe and Aaron now, when he's running around, which is when? Night. So why does the Torah mention again the word Laila? So he says very beautiful. He says that you remember, we read before, that Paroi told Moshe, the day you're going to see me, you're going to die. So now Paroi thinks to himself, why can't I find Moshe? Why is he not coming out to meet me? So he says, because I told them that the day he's going to see me, he's going to die. So Paroi is screaming, this is verse 31, according to Rachaim. Vayikra leMoshe v'Aaron. He's calling out to Moshe and Aaron, Laila! It is night! I told you I'm going to kill you if I see you by the next day I see you. Not day now, it's night. Laila was a part of the calling of Pharaoh. Paroi was, that's what Rachaim said. That he was telling, don't be afraid, I know I warned you, but I only warned you, what did I say? Biyom re'ot panecha, the day I see your face, the day you come see my face, I'm going to kill you. So I told you only for a day, but now it's night, it's okay, I'm not going to kill you, don't worry. Or the Rachaim says, or perhaps he wanted to tell him, it's night, so it's dark, you're not going to see my face clearly. Just come out, I want to tell you that you can go. What is that called? Isalalti. This is called mocking Mitzrayim. This is called mocking Mitzrayim. It says Mashiach is going to come. Kadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev v'Soichek. It's going to be laughter. The ultimate Geula is going to be a time when we're going to laugh. The Gemara says, in Avodah Zarah, the Gemara says that it's going to be the first time that God is going to have a real good laugh. So a good laugh. He's going to test. The nations of the world are going to want to come join, and God's going to say, I'm sorry, it's too late. And He's going to give them the mitzvah of Sukkah, to try out if they are ready to observe a mitzvah, but He's also going to make it the hottest day in the year, and they're going to kick the Sukkah away, and Hashem is going to laugh. Laugh that, you can't even keep a simple mitzvah like Sukkah. What are you guys talking about? But also, we're going to laugh. Shira ma'alot, Beshuv Adonai et Shivat Zion היינו כחולמים, אז ימלא צחוק פינו ולשוננו רינה. David HaMelech says, when we are all going to return, and it's all going to look to us as one big dream. Golus was a dream. היינו כחולמים. But at that time, Yimole Schoik Pinu. We are going to have such a laugh that our mouth is going to be filled with laughter. You ever had like a laugh of simcha, of joy, that you can't do anything. What does it mean a full mouth? A full mouth, even you can't eat, and you can't breathe, and you can't talk, because it's filled. Filled with what? Filled with what? Filled with laughter. Tzchoikpin. What is the laughter? We see here that God is making, laughter out of Paroi. We're going to be laughing in the future. What is the laughter? When a person laughs, usually, why are we laughing? You're a joke. Why are you laughing? Because we didn't expect to hear the end of that story, right? Someone started that once upon a time, this and this happened, and everybody's laughing. Why are you laughing? The unexpected is what you laugh. When Sarah gave birth to Yitzchak, the whole world was filled with laughter. Why? Because it was unexpected for Sarah to have a child in this age. Sarah and Abraham to give a child, it's unexpected. The coming of Mashiach in the Geula and the revelation of Mashiach is going to be exactly in this way as Yitzchak was born, completely unexpected. Sometimes you think to yourself, I'm waiting for him, I'm anticipating him, I'm expecting him, we pray for him. So when he's going to come, it's going to become like, oh, you're here finally. No. It's going to be completely unexpected. Unexpected. What does it mean unexpected? Because we don't know what to expect. We know that we expect good. But how good? How good is it going to be? The quality of goodness and the revelation of godliness, which we will see when the coming of Mashiach will take place, is going to be on such a level that we're going to look at it and it says, I didn't expect this. I expected, but I didn't expect this. This is completely beyond our expectations. Ozim Moli Tzchoikpin. There's going to be a time of full laughter, which laughter is obviously associated with joy, with simcha. Right? Laughter is associated with joy. The story of today's Parsha, the story of Parshas Boy, and even that part of the story, the laughter and the mocking of Paroi, is all a part of the laughter which we are to prepare ourselves to see and to witness by the coming of Mashiach. We always talk about Geula in a way of what we're going to experience. God is going to fill our home, etc. But it's not only that. This part of the story, just the way Paroi was laughed upon. Paroi was laughed upon. Not just punished. Laughed in the face of things which, ended up being so unexpected to him. That laughter is a part of the prophecy which we talk about Mashiach Tzidkenu. We're not just looking to get rid of our enemies. We are looking to get rid of our enemies in a way that we should be able to turn to God and say, thank you for all what our enemies did to us. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Oitcho Hashem ki anafto bi. I would thank you, God, for what you afflicted me. Imagine? No, not just to learn not to be. I'm not sure what you tried to say. But Oitcho Hashem ki anafto bi means we're going to thank Hashem, say, oh, at the time it was so troubling. It was so bothering. And suddenly, I understand what you did. I want to say thank you for that. You're coming to a point that it's all going to be one big source of simcha. The simcha is not only going to be because Mashiach is here. The simcha is going to be understanding what Galus was all about. Understanding the process of exile. Imagine that. Imagine the simcha of the suffering that we had gone through in this difficult 2,000 years of Golus. This is the type of simcha that is completely above and beyond our understanding. Why? Because that's the real simcha. Simcha is unexpected joy, and this to appreciate Golus, to appreciate this state of exile, that type of appreciation is a simcha, is a joy which is completely unbearable and something we can't even imagine how it's like. Imagine we have a little imagination. A mother gives birth to a child, and we all know that it's painful, right? It comes with pain. Birth takes pain. And at the same time, the greatest source of simcha, right? That pain opened the gates for a new life, a continuation of my life, a legacy, a continuation of generations. So that pain becomes a source of simcha. But at the same time, someone can say, well, it would not be nice. It was very nice to take the epidural, and it wasn't painful, and I didn't even feel it, coming through, and it was so easy to push, and the epidural, and thank God for the epidural. And when the doctor walks in with that epidural station in his arms, and they feel like the Mashiach has arrived, right? Baruch Hashem, the epidural is here, and we can relax and have the baby without pain. Well, I never experienced birth. I cannot tell you what and how the epidural is necessary and not necessary. One thing I can tell you: no one likes pain. No. Imagine Mashiach is coming, and you're going to appreciate every moment of that pain. The beloved HaMelech says, "Oitcha Hashem ka'anafti." That lemon is going to be the best lemon juice you can ever have. Oitcha Hashem ka'anafti. Ozi mole schoik pinu. We're going to look back, Ainu kecholmim. It's like a dream. We thought that this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad, and this is bad. But it ends up being a source of simcha, a source of enjoyment. And this is how it started. It started in the first Golus, in the Golus Mitzrayim. In Golus Mitzrayim, Hashem wanted not just to get rid of Mitzrayim. Hashem wanted us then ready to see that pain, for Egypt at least, can also be a laughing experience for us. We don't like to laugh when people suffer. We should not laugh when people suffer. But the Paro did deserved a little laughter. And the Torah tells us how the laughter took place, and the Torah tells us, and we started our class tonight, I want you to tell your son and your grandson not only what I did to Egypt, but the laughter you had while I was taking care of those Egyptians. Et asher italalti, Rashi says, tzachakti Mitzrayim, the mockery of Mitzrayim. That's a part of it. And why is it so important? Because on a different level, it means that we are going to be able to look on pain and also have some source of pleasure, of laughter. Today it's very hurting, it's painful, but looking and waiting and doing whatever it takes to bring Mashiach speedily in our days, so then we should be able to look back and say, aha! Spasiba! It makes sense. Thank you. Okay, I got it. Hashem should help. We should not obviously suffer. We had enough suffering. Fine. Now we should only have happiness and goodness, especially the week that we learn about the Yetzias Mitzrayim. So it's obviously a good time to re-experience Yetzias Mitzrayim. Let it be a speedy redemption, an easy way. Amen.